Hey guys, happy summer. Matt Woll here. Just wanted to check in with our brand new spiritual practice that Scott Erickson did such a great job in introducing last week, and that spiritual practice of investing. And that Scott reminded us so well of how the purpose of growing in generosity, investing our time, our talent, and our treasure is our response to God's extravagant generosity to us, and a habit that we can develop that fine-tunes our hearts to experience freedom from greed, from guilt and materialism, and experience God in a whole new way. While I was watching his message last week, I had thought about the first job that I ever had, and I was a youth and music associate at a church up in Bellingham, Washington in 1994, if that ages me enough. My salary was $800 a month, $800 a month. That was my first job out of college. And so I remember when I got my first paycheck, my pastor, who was also my boss at the time, I'd known and heard about this principle of generosity and investing and giving back. And in my head, I thought, oh, wow, I work at a church, so the money came from money that was already tithed by other people. So that means I don't have to, right? And he just looked at me as the wise man that he was and just sort of chuckled, said, no, you'd be making yourself a hypocrite if you got up on stage and sang about and taught about generosity and then you yourself didn't practice it. So that was my first introduction all those years ago. And I've used that memory to kind of pull me and my family forward into growing and investing our time, talent, and treasure into our community. And so what my wife and I do and my family does is we try to grow every year according to this principle. It's called the 10-10-10-70 principle. And that is where you take the first 10% of what you make and you give it right back to God as a habit. And that, again, flexes that generosity muscle, frees you from greed and materialism and consumption. The second 10%, you save. And that's a great principle that we've learned from our friend Dave Ramsey through Financial Peace University, where you try to build up 30 to 60 days of emergency funds and also living expenses if something unexpected like a global pandemic were to happen. And then the third 10%, you invest for a future return. And then you live your everyday life on that last 70%. And we didn't get there overnight, but when we did get there finally, we experienced a joy and a peace and a freedom and God's provision like we'd never seen before. So I encourage you today, if you haven't, take a moment with your family unit or your friends or your community group here and ask yourselves the question, do you know where your money goes? Do you understand how your percentages are being lived out in your financial world? And if you'd like to take a next step, you can always email me at giving@raincitychurch.com. I'd be happy to walk you through our process personally and then what we've learned along the way. So in just a moment, we're going to close our time together by praying together. We're going to put some music and some images on the screen, but would like you in your homes now with your group, with your family, to pray as we close. And today, maybe make generosity or gratitude your prayers today, that you might grow as a family and be thankful for all that God has given and trusted to you. Thanks for being with us this week, and we'll see you next time. Let's pray.